Hi, it's me again. All right, so most people who know me, and I don't have a hell of a lot of followers at all, but everyone who knows me knows that I have been writing since I could hold a pencil, making up my own stories and stuff. I got incredibly lucky at the age of 27 at 26 to be offered a publishing contract with the first publishing house that I ever submitted a book to. I still to this day think it was a fluke. I just so happened to be fortunate enough to get an offer and sign the contract, and my very first novel came out on my 27th birthday. It was amazing. I have been with this publishing company. I was with them for, well, that was 2006, so 14, just shy of 14 years. I did notice in the contract for my last couple of books, I noticed a little bit too late that they changed the wording of the contract, and this publisher, who shall remain nameless, no longer was handling marketing. This meant that my sales went from number 7 and number 9 in all of my genre for all of my ebooks, in all of ebooks on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, through all of the outlets, the distribution channels that they used, plummeted. So I'd done pretty well, considering that this was when ebooks were in their inception. But their clause on marketing meant that they did not send it to reviewers anymore either. So basically, I was taking my writing and setting it on fire. The entire fiasco, I was at that point locked into a contract and unable to figure out how to extricate myself from it. So my last book came out a couple years back, and I have been sitting on those contracts waiting for the right of first refusal clause to expire. Basically, in some publishing contracts, the publisher has what's called the right of first refusal, which means that they have the option to read something that you wrote first, and they have that right per your prior contracts. So in August, when my contract term was up, I sent them a letter requesting the reversion of my digital rights, of all my rights back to me. Now, there have been a series of unfortunate events because of this nightmare. Several years ago, there was interest from a studio in my hometown to do a web series based on the books. And we were not able at that time to move forward because of the legal issues with my publisher owning certain digital rights and there not being a lot of clarification on what rights I did have. So I got my reversion letters. This means that I now own everything. And I am in the middle of getting ready to relaunch these books. Well, there are 4 in the series. The first 3 came down within a week. However, the first one, I received the reversion letters in August. The first book remained up on Amazon for sale until within the last few weeks. And this is because the publisher has to request that those books be withdrawn. And they had submitted the request to my knowledge, but it did not immediately. For some reason, this one got missed. And it was the first one in the series, and I can't relaunch the series without the first book coming back out again. So I sent a nice little letter to Amazon, and they told me I had to talk to the publisher. Well, this was a problem because it was a very small publishing house, and the owner of the publishing house happened to die of cancer 6 weeks after my reversion letters. And that's just not something that you want to bother their family with. So she died in early October. So I waited until the end of December to reach out to the daughter who was taking over, handling all of closing down the publishing company and everything, to reach out to her by email and receive no response. I reached out to the finance director to ask him if he could help, and the response, which had her looped in on it, basically stated that he's sorry he can't help me, he wishes he could, but he'd not gotten paid for his work either. Now, I realized almost immediately that she had seen my email because she sent a group email out to every author attached to the publishing company, stating that we need to send her an invoice for our sales and she would make certain that we got paid. Now, here's the thing. This is how I know this poor girl, she's going through hell. Her mother just died. She's inherited this wreck of a company that's being run in really questionable ways. But you know she doesn't have the first clue what she's doing when she asks the authors to send her sales invoices. We don't have access to that information. We don't have access to sales figures. We don't have access to the financial records. We don't know how much our sales are. We get a quarterly report from the publisher outlining which distributors sold how many copies, and it's basically like an invoice, like a report for our taxes, so that we know exactly what our sales break down to, so we can report it accurately. Under no circumstances do we have access to that information because we don't make the sales. The publishing company makes the sales. That's why we give them the majority share of what we write. That's how it works. That's how royalties are. I give you my rights. You do this for me. You provide the service for me of distributing and publishing and taking care of making sure that it gets to the readers so that I can focus on being the creative end of things and give you more awesome material to send out there to my readers. And in return, you pay me a portion of that. You take some, I take some, and everyone's happy. That did not work that way. I sent another DCMA claim, basically digital copyright infringement claim, to Amazon. They kicked it back to me based on a pretty obscure portion of copyright law. And basically digital rights are how they have a cutoff date. So when rights revert to me, all sales must be immediately suspended within a reasonable amount of time. The publishing company can no longer, after a certain amount of reasonable time has gone by, profit from that work. The rights belong to me, therefore the income belongs to me. The copyright people at Amazon, I'm sure, must not have completely read the form that I sent, because I was requesting digital rights, that stuff be pulled because I own the digital rights. Well, their response was based on print copyright law, which basically says, so basically you say that I sell my book to, I don't know, Penguin, and Penguin prints a run of 50,000 books. Never going to happen, at least not for me. Penguin has the right to sell all 50,000 of those books. No matter if I get my rights back at some point, they can't print any more, but they will always have the right to sell that first, as many copies as they printed during the contract term. They will always be able to sell those copies. They can do a print run of, say, 5,000. They can send out 5,000. They do a second run of 20,000. They send out 10,000. They hold back 10,000. They would always be able to have the rights, even after that contract term is ended, to sell whatever copies they had made during the contract term. That does not apply to digital media. It doesn't apply to ebooks. It doesn't apply. So basically, the e-publishing is not, we have 10,000 digital copies, I can sell all 10. No, it's you buy a copy, and here, I'm going to send you this. This is your copy. I've made you a copy of this original. It's not like copies of digital files sitting in a virtual warehouse. they're not allowed to continue selling it because each cell is a fresh copy made, a new copy, and therefore it is infringement to continue to make cells after the rights no longer lie with the publisher. So I have been back and forth with Amazon since August. August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March. It's now April. That's, wow. August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. 9 months. It's been 9 months. I have been waiting for the chance to relaunch the books. 9 months. I had just about given up. And then I randomly went on Amazon tonight and thought, you know what? I'm going to run a search for myself. And I ran a search for my pen name and nothing found, which is a minor miracle. I'm like, wait, maybe they misspelled it. Run a search for the alternate spelling. Nothing. Run a search for the title. Nothing. Run a search for the title with the apostrophe, which is how it actually is on the book, Avatar's Awakening. Nothing. It's gone. They finally pulled the book. I don't know how it happened. I'm not going to question a miracle from God. But I do know that this means that I am ready to actually move forward. This means that the books that I've been sitting on, I've written 2 more, almost finished with the second one, are going to be ready to go. I'm going to be able to start pushing this out again. And I actually said to someone earlier tonight that I think no one's ever been tickled about being unpublished before. This has just been such a fiasco and such a long, hard road, and I can't express how relieved I am and how tickled I am that I ran a search and nothing came up. So this means that my everything is ready and legal and nothing can bite me in the butt and no one can have any complaint if I launch this again. So I'm setting a deadline, May 1st. We're gonna track this on my Instagram so that, and maybe even on my YouTube channel, which is registered, but I've never posted a video. So maybe we'll cross post this to YouTube. But we're gonna follow my progress. I am setting a date for May 1st. May 1st, the book will be relaunched on Amazon. I will put a link in my bio whenever it does go live. I've got a lot to do. I've got to have a new cover. I've got to go finish the edits. And my goal is to bam, 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 just put all 4 of the originals out. And then by the end of the summer, have the 5th and 6th one that I'm finishing up now be released as well. And so support your local content creators and go find that shit on Amazon whenever I finally do let you know when it's relaunched and what the new title is, because I'm kind of sick of the old one. So thanks for listening to my story time.